everybody. Welcome to Cruise Chat Live. I am Walter, your travel advisor from Where's Walter Travel, and I'm so excited. Tonight, we're doing something totally different. We're going into river cruising tonight, and not just river cruising, American river cruising. And we've got Cindy joining us from American Cruise Line. Hi, Cindy.
Hey, Walter. How are you this evening?
I'm just like so excited. I'm like really excited to do this topic because I've been wanting to talk about river cruising for a while, and you guys have amazing river boats and ships and just, you have so many cool things going on right here in the United States. We always talk about Europe. We always talk about, the Danube, the Rhine, but, we've got the Snake River Canyon. We've got the Mississippi. We've got so many rivers right here in the U.S. to explore. Right, Cindy?
We sure do. We have so many amazing and beautiful and historical things to see and explore right here in our own backyard.
Really do. So why don't we just start off with, just a very simple question? Because American Cruise Line's been around for about 50 years, but I'm willing to bet a lot of people who are watching live and those who are going to be watching the replay have no idea that this cruise line even existed. So who and what is American Cruise Line?
Okay, well, a great question to start off. We start off from the beginning. We have been around over 50 years. We're a privately owned company. We're owned by one family, the Robertson family, that's based out of Guilford, Connecticut. And we started in New England about 50 years ago, mainly doing, of course, the coastal. We weren't doing the rivers at that time until a little bit later. And so gotcha. We've been doing this a long time. And as I said, privately owned company. We have very, very fortunate because in addition to the cruise line, they also own their own shipyard, which is based in Salisbury, Maryland. So we build all of our own ships. They're all built here in the United States, which is a requirement by the U.S. law. And we do crew them 100% U.S. crewed. And they're U.S. flagged as well. So when you step on board, you get a true all-American experience.
Wow, I had no idea you guys actually own the shipyard too and everything. That's amazing.
That makes it really, really convenient for us because, we're in the process of building a lot of ships. We've really been growing the company over the last few years tremendously. And it was really something that was very much needed here in the United States because there's literally hundreds of waterways that are, navigable that, there's just not ships to operate on them. And so, during the last few years when things were shut down, our owners were thinking, we've got to see more of the United States this way. So they decided, we're going to build some ships that can operate anywhere. So, when we get to that, we've got the new catamarans coming, which we'll talk about. But so, what we're trying to do is really just to open up our eyes here in the U.S. And I know how we like to travel every place else and explore and learn their history. But, we've got so much history here and literally people come from all around the world to see our history. And, I think we tend to forget what an amazing country we have. And our wonderful history that we can certainly learn about, So.
No, that's for sure. Yeah, just like us traveling to Europe to see all of that. People come here to do the American rivers. And I want to give a shout out. I see we got Sherry, Nurse Tara. Hi, Cindy's here. Kaylin's here. Joe's here. Hi, guys. Good to see you. Thanks so much for joining in and chiming in. And then if anybody has any questions at all about American river cruising or American Cruise Line, please definitely drop them in the comment. We'll do our best to get to the answers. But if you're new to the channel, please do subscribe. Hit that little bell notification icon so that you'll be notified when we've got live events and other videos coming out like this. So that's who American Cruise Lines is. Now, we're all used to the big cruise lines. We know that we pay a cruise fare. And then when we get on the ship, there's probably a whole bunch of other things that we're going to have to pay for. So why don't you kind of walk us through, is American Cruise Line all inclusive? I mean, what's included when we do the cruise fare?
Okay, so, everybody's a little bit different, but the way we operate here at American Cruise Line is that we tried to make the product as inclusive as possible. So we've separated the product from the river cruise product, which is, going down the Mississippi, the Columbian Snake, those programs versus the coastal programs. So basically, we have pretty much the same inclusions, except on the river cruise product, we always include a one-night pre-hotel with a transfer to the ship. And we also include a featured escorted tour every day. Whereas on the coastal, we may include some featured tours, but not every day. So that's, and
Gotcha.
we don't include the pre-hotel, but basically, we do include, beer and wine at lunch and dinner. We have open bar throughout the day. We have your gratuities included, Wi-Fi. So there's not a whole lot. Yeah, that's a great slide. So you can see also, all the ships have self-service laundromats, because, we have some longer itineraries, even up to a 60-day itinerary now. We also have the onboard entertainment, which this includes local performers, dancers, musicians, comedians. Every single evening after dinner, they're going to go into the lounge and enjoy the local entertainment. We always have the guest lectures too, and I think these are such an integral part of the program, because the river cruise product is not just a cruise, it's a cultural experience. It's a real history lesson. And that's what these people do, our guest lectures, they're river lawyers, historians, and they bring these destinations to life for our guests. So, you're going to learn a lot about the history and the local lifestyle and the culture and everything about all the different destinations we visit, because every day they do give a lecture that you don't want to miss. And then, as I mentioned, the top shelf cocktails we have available all day. We do have library and computer stations, open seating dining. How we do the dining basically is very simple. We can accommodate all the guests in the dining room at one time. So you can come into the dining room, sit with whomever you like, first come, first serve. It is an open dining period, so you don't have to rush to be in there when the doors open. You can just come in during that open dining period and be seated and have.
So I don't have to stand in that line of like 300 people just, waiting to get in the door.
No.
That's nice. So, and no turnover. You can fit everybody in one seating.
Yes, and depending on the ship, some of our ships have a second dining, choice for you, like a cafe, a sundeck cafe, and then we have great food for you too. We have the local fare, which is, really important. I think you got to have good food, and we try to have the locally sourced cuisine, everything fresh every day, and we prepare a lot of choices that are local to the areas that we're visiting. So if we're going to be doing like the Maine coast, of course we're going to have some lobster multiple times during the day. I mean,
talking my language.
One of my favorites, So those are just some of the differences. And it's not only the onboard amenities, it's the fact that you're on these small ships, they're all under 200 guests. So it's a really intimate atmosphere, and it is what we call simple sophistication. And simply is, these ships are small, they're intimate, you're getting to know all the guests during the time. Usually after the second day, you've seen everybody, and you start making friends, and you're telling them about your day and your family and your grandchildren and all of that kind of stuff. But what we want to do is really try to keep it simple for you. These programs are not, they're low key, they're not intimidating or pretentious. There's no formal nights. You're not dressing up. You don't need to bring evening gowns or tuxedos. It's really what we want to do is to get across to our guests the experience of taking them to these amazing destinations and learning the history and absorbing themselves in the enrichments of the area. And so that's, really what it's all about. So it's just a very relaxing, enjoyable vacation. And you can do as much as you want. You don't have to be busy all day doing tours. We have activities on the ship, or you could just be in your stateroom relaxing, whatever you want to do. It's up to you. It's your vacation.
And I see Gary's asking, is this a river cruise line? Absolutely, Gary. It is a river cruise line. And one of the things that I think is absolutely amazing, and we're going to talk about this in just a little bit, but they're going to have almost as many ships as Royal Caribbean. That's how big of a cruise line this company is. Now, Nurse Tara's actually got a great little question here. Whoop, let me see if I can get that. Do you sail out of Baltimore or anywhere in Maryland?
We sure do. We go out of Baltimore. We do a lovely American Revolution cruise. There's a 10 night
Right.
10-night program. Yeah, that's great. And then we also do what we call an East Coast Inland Passage that will take you all the way down from Baltimore to Amelia Island and Jacksonville area. And we do have coming this winter, late fall, we're doing what we call a complete Southeast program. And we're going to do that out of Baltimore, coming all the way down, going through the Keys and on up to Tampa. So yeah, we do use Baltimore. We use one of our coastal ships there, the Constitution, and we're using our new catamarans too. So these are small ships. The largest one is 170 guests. So yeah. So if you go to the Port of Baltimore, you will certainly see our ships coming in and out of there.
Wow. Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah, I've been trying to find. Oh yeah. I've got the book here, so if you want to know more about it, just ask me. But the pictures are gorgeous. I mean, just look at this, right? That's just.
We have some beautiful sunsets here. I know I'm in Florida, so I every night is such a beautiful sunset.
Just absolutely beautiful. Let's see. Kaylin wants to know, do we have solo rooms with a balcony or a veranda?
We sure do. We certainly think of singles because we get a lot of singles. And so we've built on every single ship, single staterooms. So even our smallest ships have the minimum of 4 single staterooms. And then, we have one paddle wheeler with about 18 single staterooms. So, and those are priced at single rates. So
nice.
Yeah. So if you're interested in the single staterooms, they're very nice and spacious, and they're priced right for you. But you got to book them early because they go the first.
Only a couple of them.
They absolutely do. So
yeah.
That's the thing about all the program. You really need to plan ahead because these are small ships. And if you look at our coastal product, that's exclusive to us. We're the only company that does these programs down the coast.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
That's great. That's great. And, it's amazing how we have these ships, 2,500 people, 3,500 people, 4,500 people, no solo cabins. It's like, seriously, how hard is it to put them? And here you are with 170 guests, and you've got at least 4 solo cabins on every single ship. That's fabulous. I think that's awesome.
I see more, I do see more cruise lines trying to put, single cabins in, but, for pricing purposes, they usually try to do the double and you can pay a good surcharge traveling as a single, which, I think as further down the road, that's got to change more and more because there are a lot more single people.
Yes, I hope it will start changing at some point. So another question here. Cindy, where in New York City do the voyages leave from?
We leave, well, I'm not quite sure the name of the harbor there in New York City, but we leave right there out of the New York harbor where the big ships leave. Only, we're maybe down a little bit further from that area. I'm not sure exactly what you call that, but it's right in the city. It's right in the city. And where we go from New York, we do the fall foliage. We do the Hudson from New York.
Nice.
Yeah.
I know this. Go ahead.
We're doing a program called New York Seaports, which is starting next year. That actually, that one goes out of Boston to New York.
Wow. Yeah, I know most of the big ships go out of Manhattan or the Bronx now. So you're probably like in one of those kind of areas there.
Manhattan. I know it's in the city there. So
okay. Okay, cool. Great question. Thanks, guys. Man, you guys are asking some great questions. Gary wants to know, how long are the sailings approximately? You do have some, I mean, you have some really cool long ones. That national park one you guys have is amazing. But Cindy, like about shortest to the longest.
Okay, well, the shortest is going to be we have a 5 night on the Mississippi that we do, like a highlights of the Mississippi. That's the shortest one. And then the longest one is going to be the one we introduced earlier this year, which is called the Great United States. And it's going to be
Wow.
60 nights.
60 people, 60 nights.
Yeah, it's a 60-day program. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
So,
that's one, just so everybody knows, it's not like you're literally going to take a ship all the way across the United States. There are like what, flights and motor coaches along the way too, right?
so what we do is we actually start out on the Columbia and Snake River, and we go from Portland, Oregon to Clarkston, Washington, and then from there, then we do the national parks, yeah, Yellowstone and Grand Tetons,
Oh man.
and then we fly then from Wyoming to New Orleans, and we come
Wow.
up and we do the entire Mississippi on 14 nights. And then
Wow.
fly you over to Portland, Maine,
Oh
where we
wow.
do the Maine and we do that Yankee Seaport cruise. So you do Maine and New York, and then we end up doing the fall foliage at the end. So you end up in New York City at the end of 60 days.
Wow.
Yeah, I would
Wow.
love to do
And
that.
Gary,
I would love to do that. I've been in the industry a long time, and I traveled a lot internationally. I worked for
mhm.
the airline for many years, but there's so much of the United States I've never seen. And, you know, I grew up in the Midwest, and even places like Nashville, which was only a 3-hour drive, I'd never been there until, maybe 10 years ago.
Oh
And so
wow.
it's just, but every place we visit has a place in history, some story to tell. And
Hmm.
that's what makes it so it's very humbling experience, when you get on and you start hearing the history and what our ancestors went through and all of that. And I
Wow.
think it's very rewarding for people. And
Mhm.
because a lot of this, we haven't learned in school, so it really
Mhm.
makes it worthwhile. And we get a lot of people that they get on there, they meet new friends, and they come back again and again. So it's
Yeah.
we've got over 50 itineraries.
Wow. Is it that many now? Holy cow.
Yeah.
Man, I got to look through this book some more. And you have a whole bunch. You got one, two, three, four, five. You actually have 6 classes of ships, which we'll talk about a little bit more in just a second here. But Gary's got 2 easy ones. One, he's asking if there's any casinos. No, no casinos on the ship. And then he's asking if you go into Canada. You don't, but you have a sister line that does, right?
Yeah, we sure do. So by U.S. law, we stay strictly in the United States. We don't leave U.S. waterways. So we have a sister company. It's called Pearl Seas, and it's one ship, the Pearl Mist. It's a coastal ship of 200 guests, a lovely ship.
Hmm.
And the ship was built internationally. It has an international crew, and it has an international flag. And even though the same owners own it, it's operated as a separate company.
Hmm.
And Pearl has amazing, beautiful itineraries in the US and Canada.
Oh
So she
wow.
does the Great Lakes and the Georgian Bay and the Canadian Maritime St. Lawrence Seaway. Just some
Wow.
really wonderful itineraries. So she's one of those products because her itineraries are so unique, and she's got such a great, reputation. It just really sells itself. So
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's kind of cool. So if we wanted to go now, I grew up in New York, and St. Lawrence Seaway was our vacation every year. We went up for 2 weeks, and we would go fishing in the Alexandria Bay, Thousand Lakes, Thousand Islands area. So I know that area well. So that's kind of cool,
it's
though, that
just
you can.
beautiful. Yeah, really beautiful area.
Yeah, so we could sail American Cruise Line, and then you can just do a handoff to your sister company if we wanted to go up and do some other things. That's actually really cool. So So the answer
So
is
the
no
main thing
American.
is we've got you covered close to home. I mean, that's
Exactly.
the main thing.
Exactly. So while American Cruise Line itself doesn't go into Canada, we can definitely get you up in there if you really want to. Gary, I think this is a great question that probably a lot of people want to know is to feel. I'm going to guess that it's much smoother because you're on a river. But Cindy, what is it like on the ships?
Okay, so these are smaller ships. They are built, with excellent stabilizers on the river. The rivers can be powerful, the Mississippi and stuff, but it's not rough. It's not rough. There's not a lot of motion. And the great thing about river cruising is, the cities are built around the river, so you're always seeing land. And so I think that's one of the biggest things where people tend to get sick on the ocean when they don't see any land and there's rough water. It's just something that happens to us. So it's very rare that, anybody would get sick, but I know people get car sick and stuff even.
Yeah.
So I can't say everybody's not going to get sick, but it's very rare that happens. Now on the coastal product, we hug along the coastline, and typically, because we're so close to the coastline that, we don't have issues, but there can be from time to time on the coastal product, but the ships are well built. They have excellent stabilizers. And so it really is not anything I ever hear about, somebody getting sick. So,
Gotcha.
if this is an issue with you, this is a great way to travel is the river cruises, here in the US, or if you're in Europe, they're just a wonderful vacation,
Wow. Well, that's great. And since he's asking about the ships, I've got this slide here on your fleet. And why don't I just ask you, what are the ships like, and what is the onboard experience?
Okay, so as I mentioned, all the ships are under 200 guests. So we'll start with the original ones. Of course, what people typically think of when they think of river cruising in the U.S., and those are the paddle wheelers. And we have 4 of them. The largest one is 180 guests. We have 2 that are 150 guests and 1 that is only 100 guests. So they're small.
Wow.
And they're built for the rivers. And they have a long history, the paddle wheelers. Our paddle wheelers are fairly newly built. They're all purposely built paddle wheelers. And they were recently just refurbished the year before last. So they're very modernized. They used to be more Victorian accent look, nostalgic, but we've modernized all of them. They're modern contemporary. They're very comfortable, very large staterooms. So we have the 4. And then we have the modern river boats on the rivers. And right now, we've introduced earlier this year our 6th one, which was the American Serenade. And these are really, really beautiful ships, large staterooms, actually large staterooms across the fleet, very big staterooms.
Nice.
So we have 3 of these on the Columbian Snake, and we have 3 operating on the Mississippi programs. And what's great about the modern river boats is they do glide along the water. They're very quiet. They're very environmentally friendly, and they can go very remote. So if we don't have an actually docking platform for them, we can pull right into the embankment of the rivers and open the mouth of the ship. We can embark and disembark our guests this way.
Wow.
And I don't know if I mentioned, but they're 100% balconies. So everyone has a balcony on them. Paddle wheelers are about 85% balcony. So those are the ships that operate on the river programs. And then we've got the coastal ships. So we have the coastal cruise ships, which we have 2 larger ones, the Constitution and the Constellation. Those are both 170 guests. One is on the East Coast and one is out in the Pacific Northwest doing Alaska and Puget Sound. And then we have the 3 smaller ones that are 100 guests, the Independence, Star, and Spirit, 2 operating on the East Coast and 1 out on the Pacific Northwest. So, and then we have our new coastal cats. And this was the invention of our owners during the shutdown, with everything going on the last couple of years. So they thought of the coastal cats, and we're really excited that we have one coming out just now in less than 2 weeks away, starting up with with our Cape Cod itinerary. That's going to be our
Wow.
American Eagle, which is the namesake of the company. It was named after the first ship in the company, as well as the
Oh,
American Glory. Those were our first two ships 50 years ago.
oh wow.
So they've been reprised, and so they're back. And what's great about them is that we are actually building 12 of these. So they will
Wow.
be all over the place. And
Wow.
they're built for any type of waterway, river, ocean, lakes, and bays. And on the back of them, they have a swim deck. They have for boating, kayaking, and
Oh.
fishing. And
Oh
there are only
wow.
100 guests on
How
these.
many?
100.
Only 100 guests on those? Oh my goodness. Wow.
Yeah.
That's like
Yeah.
having a private yacht, really.
Right. So if you've got a family, or you want to do your family reunion, or you want to do a company meeting, because this is all in the U.S., it could be a tax write-off. For the U.S.
Yeah.
These are perfect little ships for that, and because
Amazing.
they're so well at maneuvering, they can go on, like I said, any type of water. So they'll
Wow.
little by little, we're coming out with lots of new itineraries. That's why we have 50 now. And so we're going to have a lot of choices with these coastal cats, moving these around.
I guess so. And like what we were saying earlier, that when the Icon of the Seas launches, Royal Caribbean will have 27 ships. When you guys finish these 10 ships that you're building, you're going to have 27 ships.
Right.
You
That's
guys
right.
are a very big, small cruise line.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, it's long overdue. I mean, we just have
Yeah.
so many places to explore, and most people don't know that they can see the United States this way. They don't
Yeah.
think of that,
Yeah.
because the big ships always, they'll leave out of a U.S. port, but they have to go down to the Bahamas or the Caribbean, or they got to leave the country. And here we stay right in the country, and we show you the good old USA.
Exactly. And just for clarification, these paddle wheelers, those are honest to goodness paddle wheelers, right? That the wheel is actually moving the boat.
Well, the paddle wheel is really for show. It's not
Ah,
moving. It's not moving the boat. No.
okay.
If it was moving the boat, it would be going very, very, very
So
slow. And
slow.
so, yeah. So it looks
These are
good, but
beautiful.
it's not move. It's not moving the boat for us. No.
These are, I mean, they're absolutely beautiful. These coastal cats look really slick. I mean, they look really, really slick. I'm liking the look of those.
Yes, I'm anxious to
Wow.
see them for sure. Me as well. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Well, let me switch this back here because I see Gary is asking, are different ships geared like towards different groups, like maybe families versus all adults? Like would any ship, or maybe the better question might even be too, would any like itineraries maybe be better for kids and families versus maybe adults?
Well, you know what? We don't. We allow any age on our ships, so we don't really have activities for children. Programs
Mhm.
for that, but it's an excellent history lesson, and we do get a lot of what we call skip generation, which is the grandparents and the grandchildren.
Right.
Our demographics are about 65 plus, but it's slowly getting going down a bit too, because more and more people are wanting to explore the U.S. And we've added all kinds of tours on our programs, like biking, hiking, ATVs, kayaking,
Right.
rafting, you know, brewery tours, distillery tours, all kinds of stuff. So we're bringing in some younger market too that has interest in that too. So
Yeah.
it it's really for everybody. Yeah, there you see Mark Twain. He's you'll find him on the Upper Mississippi. So we have some theme cruises, and we
Hmm.
do some Mark Twain theme cruises as well as Lewis and Clark, and um, also, we do the Civil War, of course, on the Mississippi, and music
Hmm.
themed cruises. We have a lot of different ones. But
Wow.
talking about the shore excursions, we have 3 different levels of shore excursions. I
Hmm.
spoke earlier about the featured tours. Those are the included tours that we have, that we offer. On the river, we do include always a featured tour every day, and some on the coastal. And then we have the next level of cruises, the premium. If you want to do additional tours, those run from $10 to $95. And then we have the signature tours. These are the ones that are very limited. They must be booked ahead of time and they vary in price. So that would be something like doing the jet boat tour through Hell's Canyon, which you must do that if you do the
Oh
Columbian
my
Snake.
God, that sounds amazing.
Yes, or if you want to do Graceland, in Memphis on the lower Mississippi, these are considered signature tours, and they do have to be booked ahead of time. So overall, we have hundreds of tours. We've tried to find the most amazing things for you to see at these different destinations. Whether you're in Paducah, Kentucky, and at the largest quilt museum, or whatever, the underground experience in on the Columbian Snake that we do, the Pendleton experience, which is the time of the bootleggers and stuff. There's just lots of great stuff, lots of great fun things to see and do.
I actually directed a music video in Paducah, Kentucky, years and years ago when I had my creative agency in Atlanta. So I know that area well.
Well, that's got the largest quilt museum in the world, and I've never been there, but everybody seems to like it, whether you're into quilts or not.
I love this, Kaylin saying, after driving the Lewis and Clark area, what a treat it would be to just relax and sail it. I bet it'd be beautiful, right?
Yeah,
Awesome.
and it is such a beautiful area out there on the Columbian Snake, and I found one of the interesting things, of course, was seeing all the Lewis and Clark. We know where they stopped and their venture and everything, but also learning from the historian on board about what they went through.
Yeah. So and you've got 3. I'm just going to bring them up. This one we actually did kind of talk about, the 60 days and 59 nights coming next year. Portland, Oregon, all the way to New York, which is absolutely insane. And you've talked about that one a little bit. And then we've got the Civil War battlefield. This is a very interesting one. Why don't you tell us a little bit about this one?
Okay, so this is coming in summer of 2024. So what we do is we start off with the lower Mississippi, that we start out of New Orleans to Memphis, and we do that on our American Melody. And then we do the Tennessee River after that, which is going from Nashville to Chattanooga. So that's a tributary of the Mississippi, and absolutely beautiful river. And then we get off there in Chattanooga, and then we do a land stay where we do General Sherman's March to Sea. And that is a couple days. And then we go back on the ships. We do the East Coast Inland Passage, which will take us from Jacksonville to Baltimore. And we're doing that on one of our little catamarans. And then the last 2 days, we do a land package to Gettysburg. And this is, of course, being guided and hosted by one of the generals from the Civil War. Not one of the general's grandsons, should I say? From the Civil War. Yeah.
Wait, you mean an actual grandson?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Great grandson. Yeah. So they've studied all this. So it'll be a great host all along the way
what
to
a great
tell
history
you about.
lesson.
Absolutely. Yeah. You wouldn't believe there's so many Civil War buffs. There really are. I know they do these enactments all the time from the Civil War.
They do.
Yeah.
They do. And then you've got one last one on here, the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, just to kind of show some of these itineraries you all have.
Yes, these are what we call our extended itineraries. And so, this is a land stay put on with our Tennessee River cruise. So we do a complimentary pre-cruise land stay one night in Nashville, and then we get on the ship. Now it goes both directions, I believe, as well too. We'll start either the land or the cruise, depending on which direction that sailing is. So that's how that works. And we have a welcome dinner at Dolly Parton's Stampede. And then we spend 2 days at the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. So I've never done that, the Smoky Mountain Park. I love the Smoky Mountains. Great. So, and you know what? That area is just so beautiful. It really is. It's just so green and luscious. And, we operate that during the time of year where, it is so colorful like that. So
Wow.
I think that's going to be a really nice program. And, we do a nice itinerary too, that we do with the Columbian Snake, where we do the national parks as well, as I mentioned earlier. And that's really a very, very popular program. So much that we added quite a few more departures for that.
Wow.
Yeah, because
Wow.
this year we had, several departures, but they sold out right away. So we added a bunch more for
Wow.
next year
Wow.
because,
So
yeah,
folks, these are
it's,
small ships. There's not a whole lot of space. So if you see something you like, it's not like, oh, we'll just wait for the sale to happen. The sale's never going to happen because the thing will be sold out before you even get to a sale. So if you see something you like, you
yeah.
got to book it.
And, the earlier you book, the better chance you have of getting the stateroom that you want. And, we do increase prices throughout the year. So, I know a lot of folks in our demographics, they are planners and they plan ahead of time. They've got multiple cruises and vacations planned. And I don't blame them. I would do the same thing. So they plan ahead, and that's the way to do it.
Right.
Because again, they're small ships, and
Yeah.
there's not a whole lot of availability. And so you just, got to book it as early as possible.
Absolutely. And Gary's asking, do you have like main like hubs, Fort Lauderdale, Miami, we know Los Angeles, New York. Do you have like primary hubs?
Well, we're going where the ships leave out of. So, if you're doing the lower Mississippi, you're either leaving out of New Orleans or Memphis. The upper Mississippi from St. Louis to Minneapolis, vice versa. If you're doing the Columbian Snake, we've got a Portland or Clarkston, Washington. If you're doing Alaska programs, we go usually Juneau round trip or Juneau, Seattle. And then, we leave out of Boston on a lot of programs. We leave out of New York. We leave out of Baltimore. We leave out of Jacksonville area. So
Wow.
it just depends on the cruise, Portland, Maine, whatever, Providence, Rhode Island, it just, so wherever. And what's nice
Wow.
is, that usually these ports are not very far from the airport either. But I always recommend, whether you're on a program that we've already included a pre-night hotel, that you always come in the day before. All of our ships leave at 1:30. And so
Wow.
you don't want to miss the boat. Yeah. So
You don't. You should always come in a day early.
Yeah. We start boarding like 10:30, 11 o'clock, and, we're out of there at 1:30.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Yeah. How does that work? I mean, obviously, all of us who have done the big ship, there's like the big cruise terminal, and we go through the terminal and all that. How does boarding work on your ship when I show up?
Oh, it's just so simple. I mean, there's not a huge amount of guests. We have, like if you're on the river cruise product, the guests are staying at a hotel. We come and, we have a guide that's coming, and someone from the ship and welcoming them, getting them on. They've had their breakfast, and they get them on the motor coach. They take them to the ship, and they have like 50 people at a time usually on the coaches. And it's no big deal. I mean, we're not checking passports. You don't need a passport.
Right.
That's another great feature. The only time you need a passport is if you're doing if you're doing the Puget Sound and you want to go up into Canada to the gardens. If you want to do that tour, you have that. But so it's very, it's very low key, not complicated. You show your ID. You've got your boarding card or your documents. That's it. I mean, we've already checked you off at the hotel or whatever. And we scan you on and off the ship. You get a boarding card, with your, it's also your room key. So, that on and off the ship. So we know when you're on the ship and when you're not, because we don't want to leave without you. Yeah.
Do you think you guys will ever do the wearables instead of a card?
I don't know. Maybe down the road. But right now it's, it's not really necessary for us. I mean, we have a simple program, and we can get people on and off the ship really quickly. So
that's true.
We're dealing with lot fewer people. So
I guess for those of us who go on the ocean ship so much, it's kind of like going to an excursion really, but you're actually getting on the main ship in terms of like how easy it is to get on and off of it. It sounds lovely.
This is like a land tour on a ship.
Yeah.
You've got the best of both worlds. You're not having to ride around on a motor coach all day, and you're getting to see everything in comfort. And it's
Yeah.
wonderful. It's wonderful being out on the water, but out on the rivers. And, there's a lot of activity out on the waters. There's lots of commerce going on in the Mississippi and
Yeah.
barges and all kinds of stuff. And it's fun. It's fun.
That's
It's
nice.
very relaxing too.
Yeah, and if you missed the big 3-minute countdown that I did at the beginning, I encourage you. You're here on YouTube. Go over to American Cruise Line's channel. After this, stay with us till we're done. But when we're done here, go on over to American Cruise Line's channel and check out the ship. There's some flyovers of like your sun decks and stuff, and I'm like, oh my God, this is gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. And some of the interiors that you've done, absolutely gorgeous.
Yes.
I love this question. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, you mentioned the sun decks, but, we have I know this is important to our guests. We have a nice walking path. We have shuffleboard and putt-putt golf. And some of the programs, we do yoga lessons up there too. Nice. And it's also just lots of room for you to relax, enjoy the scenery. You don't have to fight over any chairs or anything like that. There's
chair hogs? Wait, I don't know if I can come on a ship that doesn't have chair hogs. I don't know. I love it. I love this from Tara. Have you ever done vow renewals on American Cruise Line?
I don't know that we have. I think that anything is possible. I mean, we're right here in the USA. That's what I tell everybody.
Why
so yeah.
Yeah, and she's asking what would that look like? I guess it would just be arranging it. Tara, you would arrange it with us and American Cruise Line, and can we set up like a little private ceremony somewhere?
Yeah, if it doesn't conflict, with anything going on the ship, with the other guests on board. Our ships have a lot of lounges on them, so anything's possible, really.
Sure.
I mean,
sure. And of course, at all the destinations you go to, I mean, do a vow renewal at Graceland.
Right. Exactly.
Wow. Gary's asking, do you have sailings all year round?
We do. How we do this is that we operate on the Mississippi from like about the second week of February through the end of the year. So there's just a short window of time. The Colombian Snake, we're operating from middle March through the end of October. And then the coastal programs, of course, we're up there on the East Coast, up in the New England area during the summertime. And then in the winter, we're down here in Florida. So we have those operating. We do like a Great Rivers of Florida round trip from Amelia. We do the historic South Golden Isles. And we do some of the American Revolution too out of Baltimore during that time too. So those are operating during the winter time.
That's fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. And Kaylin's asking, is there Wi-Fi on the ships?
Absolutely. You got to stay connected. And, we put Skylink on the ships now, so it's way better. Yeah. Because, you get in desolate areas where, there's not huge towers and stuff. So we have the Skylink now. It works wonderful. Everybody loves it.
Yeah.
And it's free. There's no charge. You can stream, you can whatever, you can do that.
Wow.
Take your pictures and send them off, whatever.
So since you mentioned that, so you've mentioned that there are certain shore excursions that you can basically upgrade to with a fee. What might be some of the things that would be a fee on the cruise after you paid for it?
Okay, so on board, we don't have a gift shop, and there's nothing other than the tours that you can buy, because all of your liquor is included, on board. So there's not really anything else for you to buy except extra tours.
Wow. So it is basically an all-inclusive cruise. And then if you want to add on an upgraded tour or a different tour, you can do that. But you can step on your ship and not spend another dime for the entire tour.
Right. Right.
Wow.
Yes.
I love that. I
Yeah.
love that. You know.
Yes. We don't want them dipping in their pocket. And, one of the things, people think traveling in the US, it's going to be less expensive than traveling other places. But, these are small ships. We still have, 30, 40 crew or more on these ships, small number
Mhm.
of guests. And, we tried to include all of these things in the program. So we're not nickel and diming you the whole time like you find on the
Right.
big ships. So overall, what ends in the end is that people see that there is a tremendous value in these,
Mhm.
um, and they're happy. They're happy with the experience,
That's
and they
awesome.
come back. Yes.
So Gary's asking no specialty dining, which we're used to on the ocean ships, all inclusive. So yes, Gary, it is all inclusive. But other than the main dining room, are there other dining venues on these ships?
Well, we'll do room service in the morning for breakfast, or if you need room service, we can do that. But we have on some of the ships, all the modern river boats, they have a outdoor cafe, which serves like
Nice.
hamburgers, hot dogs, pizzas, ice cream, that throughout the day. So that would be, your second choice. But the main dining room, where we usually do sit down. I mean, sometimes in the morning we'll have a little bit of a buffet, but most of them are sit down. So, and with the open dining period, you can come and eat in the dining room. If you don't want to, you can eat out on the, in the cafe, or, if we're in port, you could eat it at one of the restaurants or something if you wanted to, if you
Yeah.
want to go off the ship. But the food is really good, and good amount of choices for you and everything, and large
Nice.
portions. And
Nice.
yeah.
I love that the dining room can seat everybody in one shot. So there's none of this, I got to do early, I got to do late, or if I want to, just come in a little bit later, I don't have to worry about fighting for a table or waiting in a long line for a
Right.
table. That's really nice.
And you could sit with different people, if you want to. You don't have to
Yeah.
sit with the same people every night. I mean, I know people find new friends and they start sitting together, but you
Yeah.
know, and that's what works good for single people too, because they get to sit with all kinds of people, and with other singles on board. And I mean, so
Yeah.
they don't feel left out or uncomfortable, or they fit right in with everybody else. So
Nice. And obviously you don't have like a big Broadway style theater like the big ocean ships do. So what's the nighttime like? What's your nighttime entertainment like?
okay, so what happens is before dinner we have a wonderful cocktail party where,
Mm.
of course, we have the open bar, and we have wonderful hors d'oeuvres. You can really fill up in there before you even get to dinner, which I always love hors d'oeuvres. So
Nice.
we have that, and then we have dinner, following by dinner, and then you casually eat dinner, and after that, you come back out into the lounge. We've got music playing, and more cocktails, and then we start the
Nice.
entertainment, which is,
Nice.
all local entertainment. For the most part,
Oh
it's
wow.
it's very good. And we treat the guests like it is America. We've got root beer floats and popcorn and orange cream sodas and things like
Oh my
that too.
God.
So
Oh my
if you
God.
wanted
Root beer floats,
wanted
orange cream soda. Oh my God, you're speaking my language.
yeah. So I mean, just to bring back the nostalgia of, America, right? And we
Yeah.
celebrate, of course, on all the ships. We celebrate all the national holidays.
Oh,
Yeah. We
fun.
just had the 4th of July, so we always find where the fireworks are, so our guests can see the fireworks.
Oh, nice. You kind of like park the ship in a place where they're going to get to see
Yeah,
something, or at least bring them to a port where they're going to see something cool.
yeah.
Really nice. So Gary, I think is sold. I've got him on an ocean cruise. In fact, he's going on a really cool one. He's going to go see the solar eclipse on a
Oh,
ship. It's actually
yes.
going to be out of sea. But Gary, yeah, maybe you and your family need to think about traveling around the United States on one of these, right? Absolutely gorgeous.
Right. Yeah, it is. It's fun. Everybody always has a great time. And I know someone asked me the other day about the solar eclipse, if we were going to do something. I don't know if we will at this time, but it's a possibility. Who knows?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's a couple of Panama Canal cruises that just so happened that they lined up with it. So now they're going to send the ships out to do that. And But I'm telling you, this is, for those of you who are watching who've never, considered American river cruising, maybe you didn't even know American river cruising even existed. Now you know. We've been talking about this for an hour. If you missed any of this, go back and watch the replay. Cindy's been sharing a lot of great information. I got to ask you, Cindy, what are your thoughts? I got two things. One, what do you think would be a great first cruise? I mean, you just said you got 50 itineraries, so I mean, take your pick.
Yeah.
Let's just start there. What do you think would be anybody watching this, what would be a great introduction to American Cruise Line?
I think, which is our most popular, I believe, is the lower Mississippi, starting in either New Orleans or Memphis,
Okay.
Because it's right in the heartland of America. It's got a tremendous amount of history. I think it's a forgotten part of our country, and there's just so much there to learn and appreciate. And the Mississippi River is an amazing river. It's a very powerful river, very mighty. It can be, it's got a lot of names for the Mississippi River, but it's, it's steeped in tradition and history. And, you learn a lot about that, of course, from the historian about the Mississippi, from years ago. And I absolutely, it's really just, it's a very wholesome area, very humbling area. And I think it's a good place to start is on the lower Mississippi,
Cool.
And then if you like that, you can do the upper Mississippi, but usually people go to do the Columbian Snake after that. Which is going further out west, and that doesn't disappoint either. I mean, it's just spectacular scenery, Mount St. Helens, the Multnomah Falls, the beautiful Wine Valley.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, both of those are our most popular programs, those two. So then you can start doing the others, after you've done those. So, yeah, that would be a great place to start is on the Mississippi. And that's where I started. And actually I grew up in Southern Illinois. So I grew up on the Mississippi, actually where we leave from Alton, Illinois, which is right across the river from St. Louis. And that's where we do the upper Mississippi, which we do in the summertime. And if you do the Mississippi, the lower Mississippi is totally different than the upper Mississippi. The whole scenery changes dramatically.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're both beautiful experiences.
I just booked somebody on an Alaska cruise, and she lives in one of the towns that you guys actually visit. And she said it's such a boon and benefit to their town when your ships come in. So she was all excited that we were talking to you guys tonight. So that's really awesome.
Oh, people get so excited when they see these ships. Like, was that a ship? Like, here in Florida, they see the St. John's River up there, and they're like, did I just see a ship go by? Yeah. Like, wait till now they see the catamarans.
Oh my God, I can't wait to see the catamaran. Hey, what's your favorite so far, and what do you want to do next?
Oh, you know what? I wish I would have been able to do more. I've done the lower Mississippi, I've done the Columbian Snake, and I haven't sailed on the New England ones, but I've been up there and visited the ships, and I think, I would really love to experience either the Maine or some of the New England programs. Those are very, very popular. And that's why I haven't been on them, because they're always sold out. But, they just operate during the summertime, but just such a perfect way if you want to see Martha's Vineyard, Block Island, Provincetown, these destinations, which are not easy to get to, but are so simple for us being on these small ships and take you right into the ports very, very easily. So, that would be my next choice.
Wow. So so Gary's asking, are there any itineraries that might have like maybe last minute space available? I mean, from what we've been talking about all night, you're pretty much selling out pretty quickly.
Yes. Well, we've added a lot more inventory on the Mississippi programs and the Columbian Snake. So this year we have found, dates that we have offered, some specials. And, we've had dates with discounts and free air. So, you just have to do a little digging around. I'm sure you would find
Yeah.
some dates with some space if you want to go last minute.
Yeah.
Less than 2 weeks out like that. I
Yeah,
think
or you
so.
can just contact your friendly neighborhood travel advisor like me, and I'll take a look at
That's
the
right.
space and see what's
That's
available for you.
Walter. Right. That's what your job is, to check it out for them.
That is our
Take care of
job, and
them.
pretty soon we're going to be checking 27 different ships to see this inventory. I still can't believe you're going to have that many ships. That's absolutely amazing.
I know. I mean, it was just like all of a sudden, we had all these ships. I mean, it just every few months it seemed one was popping out, and
Wow.
it's a very ambitious, endeavor for sure for the
Hmm.
company. But they've been doing this a long time, and there truly is a need here in the U.S.
Yeah.
To have this type of product for us to see the country this way, instead of
Right.
getting on the highways and driving everywhere. Now it's much simpler, but just getting on a little ship and having the captain take you. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a lot of foresight for the owners during the shutdown to start sketching out new ships and saying, you know what, we're going to take this pause and we're going to come up with some ideas to move the industry forward. And I mean, that's really brilliant what you're doing. And like you said, you're releasing like 10 of these cats eventually, very shortly.
Yeah. So we have the 2 coming this year, 2 for next year, and I probably it'd be about 2 every year. So we're going
Wow.
to have a total of 12 of them.
Wow.
Yep.
And they do, by the way, if you go to their YouTube channel, you still do it where you just slide the cat goes in sideways right into the water, and it's pretty cool to watch.
Yes, yes. They posted, how they get the ship from the land into the water, so you can see.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
cool. Well, we have been going about an hour here, folks. Y'all have been asking some great questions. Thank you to Gary, Terry, Kaylin, everybody for joining in tonight. You've been asking a lot of great questions. Really do appreciate it. Again, I'm Walter with Where's Walter Travel. So if we can help you with any of your American river cruising needs, certainly do reach out. We've got a great relationship with Cindy. We've got a great relationship with American Cruise Line. You just saw, this is not like some, old fogey boat. Oh, it's going to be, no, they've modernized the ships. They've got truly modern ships. You've been building a lot of ships in 2018. And I mean, this is comfortable, modern river cruising, and definitely reach out. What a great way to see America. Cindy, I'm so excited you came on here tonight.
Thank you. Well, I appreciate so much that you invited me, Walter. This has been a lot of fun, and I hope that I've enlightened everybody what's in their own backyard to experience and explore.
Explore America, everybody. I mean, come on now. We're always talking about the Caribbean and Europe and all these other places, and we've got quite a huge country to go out and see right here as well. So, Cindy, thank you so much for joining in tonight. Really do appreciate it.
My pleasure. It's been my pleasure sharing America's story.
All right, everybody. And you will see us Sunday morning on TikTok at 10:30 a.m. We'll be Cruise Chat Live, and then we'll be right back here 8:30 p.m. Eastern time next week with another guest. So everybody, again, Cindy, thank you to everybody who's watching. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight, and y'all have an amazing evening.